Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You're welcome to Massive Media. Thank you for viewing, and we also use this opportunity to thank every one of us and all our viewers and subscribers, as well as those who have not subscribed. We wish to thank you very much and wish you the best. Do not forget to always subscribe, share this video, then press the notification bell for you to receive the news and all our videos as soon as they are published. Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing as well. Today our analysis is on Mr. President Ahmed Tinubu and his proposed invasion of Niger Republic to restore the ousted former president of Niger Republic, Mr. Mohamed Bazoum, a friend of Mr. Tinubu's master, Mr. Muhammad Buhari. Mr. Tinubu himself is now galvanizing the support of ECOWAS to carry out 4 purposeful programs, but we will come to that later. When you look at various publications since after the coup, you find out that many TV houses, bloggers, and others have made series and series of videos, comments, depending on the trending news at a particular day. For instance, when you look, we pick 2 or 3 out of these headlines on Nigerian ECOWAS military invasion plots. Now we have to look at the France 24. It says military intervention in Niger last resort. We go back again, we see Niger, ECOWAS delegation in Niger to negotiate with the coup leaders. We look again up, we see here we have, we are not slaves or your property. President Ramaphosa of South Africa tells the West. Then you look up, you see France to invade Africa. The other side, the coup leader says, we will not allow NATO to destroy Niger like Libya. You look up again, you see where it is said, you sell our uranium $218 and pay us only $11. Niger coup threatens French nuclear power. This is what has been threatened, and you find out that coming down to Nigeria, we have another from Apple YouTube says 7 northern states will be wiped off if you go to war with Niger. Northern senators begs Tinubu. Then another shocking is that in this very German woman, German first lady, yes, it says military intervention in Niger after coup. ECOWAS prepares for showdown as ultimatum. All these are part of the programs people have carried out in this very particular issue. But today we are going to look into the reality. We have studied the reality from all that people have written. We have done the research, and we come to the conclusion that Ahmed Tinubu wants to be a big player in Niger uranium business with France and the United States of America using ECOWAS soldiers' intervention as a pretext. Now, it is wise to know the facts and factors forcing Mr. Tinubu to declare war against Niger Republic. It is stated, give a man full responsibility and watch him. You will know who and what that man is. Yes, Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. And Nigeria as a nation has its own foundation under the struggle of colonial era. Just like Niger Republic, with Britain and France fighting for resources in what today is known as ECOWAS region. Remember, all Western powers present today in Niger Republic were also involved in scramble for Africa in this particular region between 18th to 19th century until date. The scramble never went without sabotaging each other between these powers. First, Britain used local militia to chase out Germans out of Hausa land and partly Niger Republic. What is today taking place? Eastern Nigeria, that is southeast and the south-south, as they prefer to be called. Remember, late General Abacha balkanized southeast and the south-south. It was originally Eastern region, but it was balkanized to southeast and the south-south, which many Nigerians, especially the riverine areas, loved to be identified with, but rejected the creator. General Abacha is late. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this particular program. Share this video. We ask you to share this video because it is full of things we need to know. Unfortunately, we will see things we wouldn't like to see, but it has to be because it's history. This struggle led Britain and France dividing Cameroon into northern Cameroon. The northern Cameroon belongs to the French, and they speak French today, abandoning their own language, official language, to speak French as official language, international official language. The same thing applies. Cameroon was divided into two, as I stated earlier. The northern Cameroon, which belongs to France, and the southern Cameroon, which belongs to Britain, and of which they speak English as their official language. And this particular southern Cameroon was submerged with the eastern region. Now they've got independence from them in the 60s. Unfortunately, they do not want them to have peace in their own land and use their resources without them interfering. Today, old African politicians in ECOWAS region love this, and some African Union members love to see the colonial powers back in their various countries and control the system. As long as they liaise with the colonial powers, they subjugate their own people, the development and the advancement of the country. So this is what is happening in Niger Republic. Everybody may be happy, some may not be, that what is happening in Niger Republic today is as a result of domination from the colonial past. But we have old politicians like Tinubu, who is not happy that their friends liaise no longer with the colonial master that controls the system. When you look at what the coup plotter said, it says France sell their uranium at the rate of $218, but accounts only but $11 to Niger Republic. This is a very pathetic situation, and the president or the former ousted president is comfortable or was comfortable with this type of pricing because he wants to maintain his relationship with the French president and France as a whole. Well, what will we do? Nevertheless, some ECOWAS and African Union youths abhor this. Some want a new Africa free of colonial influence, who in every facet have helped to corrupt African leaders to sustain their internal colonization. The youths do not want such to continue in most countries of Africa. In most countries of Africa, but not in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the politicians are comfortable with this, and that is why they are now enraged that a youth has taken over the power through the gun from the ousted president, and therefore they must restore the old president to continue with the Western relationship. And Tinubu is one of them. Today, some evil leaders of Africa copy good things from Western democracy that benefits them, but jettison any good program of their masters that benefit the poor, that will make development to come. This can be testified by many Africans who are interested to know how leadership operates in Western world, especially those who are in Western countries. They know how the rule of law operates. They cannot contradict, they cannot go against the rule of law in Western countries, and the politicians, whosoever embezzles the nation's money, will be put to prison without any excuse. The judges will take him up and he will serve the sentence of mismanagement and embezzlement. But this is not obtainable in Africa. Africans do not want to see this come to Africa. The politicians want to embezzle and impoverish the country and the people. Coups in Africa arises then when the leaders see corruption as a way of life, arrogate power of knowledge to themselves, according to General Babangida, when they overthrew General Buhari in July 1985. When politicians abandon programs designed to enhance livelihood of the people or the citizens, amass wealth for themselves and their families, pursue programs of colonizers, and oppress opposition and the people at large. This is when the military looks sideways and decide on how a rescue mission can take place. We saw this type of madness in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Liberia, in Cameroon. Indeed, ECOWAS had been prone to coups. ECOWAS have been prone to coups for a long time because of the collaboration or collaborations between the colonies and the colonialists. The colonies love their colonizers. The local politicians want to associate themselves with the colonial masters to prove to their people that they have relationship with the West, which do not give the leaders chance to operate independently and responsively. These Western leaders speak of human rights and rule of law, but their counterparts in Africa speak of impunity. They speak of impunity. Unfortunately, African leaders themselves depended on the support of these colonial powers, whose parents dehumanized black people in the past, even until date, abusing blacks in their various countries of abroad, despite depending on the resources from Africa, whose people most hated. In many Western world, they hated blacks, especially those from Africa, and particularly those from Nigeria, because of the corrupt system in Nigeria. It is widely accepted that coups were introduced to Africa by Western powers, especially if they are not getting what they want from African leaders, because they train African army, navy, air force, and police. They identify the willing tools to use whenever they want to oust the incumbent president. Nevertheless, what is the case? Why is Mr. Tinubu so much in a hurry to invade Niger Republic? As it is stated, Mr. INEC Chicago Tinubu fights Niger coup juntas to save French system in place in Niger Republic, US interest, and other Western powers' interest. We will elaborate more on that. These security chiefs, appointed by the military, who in most cases also become their watchdogs as well as the watchdog of the civil populace, they fail to realize that these security chiefs act as double-edged sword. They watch the evil politicians, who in most cases loot public treasury empty, kill politicians, kill opponents, abuse their official rules, disobey court orders, and abuse fundamental rights of their people. When the citizens are crying out, when the powers that be ignore their citizens, but continue on the impunity fashioned out by them, the military chiefs, the military officers always watch at them, because they are also citizens and they watch the crimes of the leadership. However, such chain of interest is broken. And when it is broken, because of the above itemized findings, then the problem emerges. Defense of democracy as such becomes a tool of ignorant outside leaders, because those who are inside, those citizens that suffer the pains of impunity from bad leaders, are the people who cry for a change. But the defenders of democracy, like what Tinubu is trying to do not look at the pains of the citizens. They do not advise those leaders when their people are crying, just like what is happening in Nigeria, from the changing of Naira to the election, now to the tribunal, to the removal of fuel subsidy, and all other problems in Nigeria. No Western power is advising Mr. Tinubu. That is how these problems creeps in. The defense of democracy becomes a tool of ignorant outside leaders, who also ignore to advise their compatriots about providing necessary infrastructures, medical care, drinkable water, good roads, affordable education, industries, and the maintenance culture of the government properties for people to live normal life. They do not advise them, but they cruise life with them until something goes wrong. Then they will start fighting for restoration of democracy. This is what is happening in Niger Republic. That is what is happening in Niger Republic. Democracy is government of the people, not government of the leaders, for the leaders, not government that defends their own interest and ignore the interest of those who elected the officers. Democratic defense leaders only wish to restore looting pipelines and their interests, which on the other hand, a tool to poverty to ordinary citizens and abuse of right. In Nigeria, coups also came about to change corrupt politicians and serving the master's peace. by the military. In most cases, it helped to stabilize the polity. Coups in Africa, even in Western world before they change and see democracy, at least within 60 to 80% of their life, it helps to change the ideology of the youth. Coups, I repeat, help to stabilize the polity and the ideology of new politicians to learn from the past. That is the good thing it brings. It brings that if the people are prepared, if the people are prepared also to learn. But where the politicians are not prepared, that is where the continuity of problem goes on. Unfortunately, these politicians on return, some of them on return to power, continue with the democratic corruption. Sometimes become more corrupt than they were, especially in Nigerian context. Corrupt politicians create bogus programs to loot the treasury, and in recent times, they have perfected to help even the military to loot. Well, Niger Republic is no exception. Those who live within the system knows where it is pinching them. That is the citizens. Niger Republic immediate past president. As you can see in the slide, holding hand with the Macron, the French president, who colonized the whole French-speaking countries and decide on their development. That is, in Niger Republic, the immediate past president, Mr. Muhammad Bazoum, was corrupt. His attention was to Western world, especially the French. And with his brother, Mr. Buhari, they favored the West than to his or to their people, as expressed by the jubilation in Niger Republic after the coup. They overthrew this very president. The military junta overthrew this president, and the people were very, very happy and jubilated. They saw France as their problem. The youth identified that. He accommodated, this very particular president accommodated Nigerian president, Buhari, former president Buhari's wealth, and established in Niger Republic with Nigerian resources. Buhari established in Nigeria or Niger Republic with Nigerian resources. But this very particular deposed president did not advise Buhari not to bring loots or programs they're supposed to plant in Nigeria to Niger Republic. Nevertheless, embattled Nigerian president, Mr. Tinubu, did not advise also his master about implications of Mr. Bazoum accepting the loots in Niger Republic. Like stated above, the watchdogs now confiscated all Mr. Buhari's loots. Then Mr. Tinubu is not happy about it and decided to invade Niger Republic to remove the military juntas. While at home, Nigeria and the militants are at war. Again, he has Mr. Asare Dokubo singing war song for him against Peter Obi and the tribunal judges after displaying AK-47. Secondly, French leader Macron, who welcomed the Chicago Ahmed Tinubu after choosing France as his country of medical trip and rehabilitation, just like his predecessor did choose Britain. Macron welcomed him and sees Tinubu as an ally, just like Tinubu has now seen Mr. Macron as the best friend. However, African youths appear more focused to see Africa as their own home and change the mentality of African resources for the West, suffrage for the African youths. This is what the youths want to change. Africa, according to the youth, must no longer belong as or be seen as poverty capital of the world, despite abundant resources. This is playing out in Niger Republic. But Mr. Tinubu is fighting against it using ECOWAS. He wants no opposition to poverty in Niger Republic, having declared also Nigeria as Abado Center for Nigerian youths. To make Niger citizens to embrace the principle of poverty, he aligned himself with big uranium business players as a repayment for support and recognition. He now sees avenue this avenue as a source of making good relationship with the Western powers. He sees this avenue also to boost his political career by taking contracts of attacking Niger Republic to please the French president. As he quickly removed oil subsidy in Nigeria on the day of swearing-in ceremony, he also imposed sanctions against the military junta in Niger Republic and cut off electricity supply to Niger Republic without consultation. Although there are no electricity supply in Nigeria itself. Nigerians don't have light. They have blackout day after day. But he wants to play a very big role. Tinubu wants to play a very big role as one of the players in uranium business. However, he is not comfortable with the military junta, who now insist they will not do business with France, USA, and seize the Buhari's wealth and properties in Niger Republic. To Tinubu, these countries, especially France and US, are important to him for his own political survival. Therefore, he volunteered to be used as a tool of intervention. Although this entails doom to some Nigerian states in the north who may face some harm should the Nigerian ECOWAS-led military attack Niger Republic. As it stands now, cries of innocent citizens are at limbo when Tinubu starts Operation No Coup in ECOWAS region. But what advantages has he to satisfy? For the US, he needs their support to stabilize his presidency. They will not open more on his illegal businesses in Chicago, USA. For the French, his relationship with the French President Macron, the main victim of the coup, who acts as a liaison officer for Tinubu's recognition by EU. Mr. Tinubu sees France as his third home after Guinea-Conakry. Guinea-Conakry is a French colony, like Buhari, whose father speaks French and also from Niger Republic. African Union leaders has cautioned Mr. Tinubu. Would Mr. Tinubu be Barack Obama of Africa to invade another African country? Would French president repeat Gbagbo's of Ivory Coast action? Should South African leaders always help? No, not South Africa. Should African leaders always help imperialists to take control of African resources? Unfortunately, Tinubu's military intervention is manipulated by interest groups. Is it doomed to back out of this very exercise? Northern Nigerian politicians are not comfortable with this proposed invasion. Will Tinubu back down? Will Tinubu back down, or will he pursue the interest of his master, also Mr. Muhammadu Buhari? He was available and was with APC as national chairman when all China-Nigerian loans were invested in Niger Republic. He was available. He saw it. Today, Nigeria has no light, but they supply Niger Republic with efficient and functional electricity. But coming back to Nigeria, what do they have? They are struggling with generators, blackout, managing to live without electricity. These are the things the youths are not happy about. And when military interferes, you find out that the youth indeed supports the military. Nigeria is not an exception. There are a lot of problems in Nigeria. If Tinubu as a president is insisting that there will be no military intervention in ECOWAS countries, he therefore would do everything to provide the necessary infrastructure, services, jobs needed to avoid the military being attracted to intervene. After all, going back to the era of General Obasanjo in 1976 to 1978, part of 79, you find out that there are a lot of good services. The military, Supreme Military Council, their salaries were not as huge as the senators' salaries we have today. There are few number of members of Supreme Military Council. Therefore, they saved a lot of money to provide services for the youth. Those who were in secondary schools in those days can testify. You'll be in your secondary school, you'll be in your class as somebody doing class 5, you'll be provided job, you'll be given form while you are still in class 5 to fill. And as soon as you leave, you finish your school certificate, you have a job. But today, what is it? The politicians will take all the money you pay in the Senate, you pay in the House of Representatives, all members of House of Assemblies, the governors. These consume the money they supposed to use to provide for the infrastructures, medical cares, and the education of the youth. But these people will be taking it and be abusing the poor in the Senate House. These are the things that attract the military. But they do not want to see the military intervene when they are messing up the democratic system. It is very, very pathetic. In this, we ask our viewers, please to subscribe to this channel, share our videos, like it, press the notification bell, leave your comment. All these are to help to impact to the society what the politicians are doing and what the foreign powers are doing. They will be hearing the citizens complain. They will be seeing the citizens without infrastructures. Most of these Western powers, their citizens are in all these various countries, but they don't report back. It is only when it becomes excess and the military intervenes that they want democracy, because they want their interest to be protected. With this, we come to the end of this very program. We thank you for listening. God bless you all. Bye.